¿Se le está saliendo el corazón? Sí. Es como, bueno, en realidad es el mismo. O sea, es él, o sea, es Escaramuche con la ropa nueva y en medio está Escaramuche con la ropa antigua. No es el corazón, es Escaramuche cayendo. Es él mismo, exactamente. Y como que se está desvaneciendo. ¿Recordáis lo que os dije? Que yo creía que lo iban a resetear. Pues yo creo que es lo que va a pasar. Que al final la academia y Nahida lo arreglan. O algo así. Ir apuntando los códigos, por favor. Vale, vamos a poner esto aquí. Aquí tenemos código 1, luego los pongo.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Genshin Impact version 3.3 special program. I'm your host, Sarah Miller-Cruz, the voice of Lumine in Genshin Impact. And today I'm joined by...
Max, the one and only middleman.
Porque está Ito aquí.
The one and only Arataki.
Redondito. Okay.
And I'm Patrick Pedraza, voice of the Wanderer. But up until now, travelers have only known me as Scaramouche, and everyone's been battling me in the game lately.
Yeah, that's true. But to be fair, it's a really cool fight.
It's a really cool fight.
I know.
Combate del
Anyway,
juego.
I'm super excited to have the chance to share some upcoming content with everyone. What did you all think about that trailer?
Okay, so
Trailer.
I definitely saw Irminsul in there, and I am really excited to find out more about it.
Yeah, that trailer had everything. It had everything. It had action. It had drama.
Drama.
It was lighthearted in places, but it was dramatic.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm just super stoked for everyone to see Scaramouche's, like...
La voz de Escaramuche en inglés es igual que la del viajero, loco. Son idénticas.
Well, speaking of that, following the story's development, Scaramouche is still in Nahida's custody. So I bet the question everyone's wanting to know is how he'll become the Wanderer.
Yeah, for sure.
Están diciendo de, vamos a ver por qué se vuelve el Wanderer, ¿no?
If you're interested, then be sure to play through the Archon Quest interlude chapter in version of Genesis. There is so much to learn in this quest.
Hay una cuenta de conte nueva del Iyue.
Out.
Me ha parecido
come
oír.
on, man, you can't just leave everyone hanging like that. How about some hints? Come on, please, pretty please.
All right. How can I say no to a cute chibi Ito?
You can't.
Here's a little preview from the quest.
Preview.
We ran into two people at the academia today talking about an essay. Turns out their topic was about the Tatarasuna incident. From what they were saying, it sounded like lots of Tatarasuna's history is still unexplained. And most of the information we have now is just from people filling the gaps with their imagination. At least that's what they thought.
Well, they guessed right about one thing. Tatarasuna was sabotaged.
Pretty rad.
Archon Quest
Wait,
Interludio.
why are they talking about Tatarasuna?
I guess we'll have to see. It is interesting, though, to see the Traveler, Nahida, and Scaramouche all together so peacefully like that.
Yeah, but in this interlude chapter, Nahida will task the Traveler and Paimon with keeping an eye on Scaramouche while we go with him into Irminsul in search of some information.
Van a Limir Sul en busca de información. De Tatarasuna,
So
seguramente.
obviously Nahida must have some reason for deciding to keep Scaramouche around.
Oh yeah, totally. And I'm liking Scaramouche's new style. Ooh, dude's looking sharp.
Heck yeah, always. No
nos van a hacer spoilers del porqué,
and
seguramente.
at this point, he's known by a completely different name, the Wanderer. I love that name.
Okay, so I know I'm not the only one who's curious about what happened. I mean, it looks like he's really changed a lot.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm afraid that's all we can show for now. Travelers will have to experience the story for themselves in-game. I mean, it's better to explore the storyline without too many spoilers, right?
No quieren spoilear, me parece
Yeah, I
perfecto.
guess you're right. Okay, we'll
Me
leave
parece
the
guay que
rest
no
for
spoileen.
travelers to discover themselves. But the Wanderer is also going to be a new playable character in version 3.3. So
Evidente.
let's talk about that. I'm sure many of our viewers are curious about his talents.
Heck yeah, sure thing. Let's have a look at the Wanderer.
Vamos a ver
in
los
combat.
talentos de Escaramuche, nos lo va a enseñar.
There's no need to exchange pleasantries. It's rather pathetic to force a conversation just to occupy silence.
The wind rises.
Cuchillas de viento. Qué guapo.
Bow your head.
Esto está guapísimo. El rollo del vórtice de
All right,
Venti.
Patrick, you're up. Help introduce the Wanderer for us.
Sure thing. The Wanderer is a catalyst user and has an animo vision, so he uses wind blades to perform ranged normal attacks.
Windblades.
Wait a second. Wind blades?
Not the same as the Traveler's wind blade, though.
Okay.
So,
Wind
as
blade.
everyone probably already noticed, the Wanderer
está
can
guapísimo,
hover in the
tío.
air when he casts his elemental skill. Upon using his elemental skill,
Puede
he will
volar.
first deal AoE damage before leaping into the air and entering a hovering state. So, while hovering, the Wanderer's normal and charge attacks will be converted into Kugo Fushudan and Kugu Tofukai, respectively. The damage they deal and their AoE will be increased.
Aumenta el daño,
Their
aumenta la
damage
Puede
will
volar.
be considered normal and charge attack damage, respectively. Also, Kugu Tofukai will not consume stamina, and he can remain hovering for a certain duration.
Dura un ratito, tipo no consume estamina, dice.
I know, right? But he can't stay hovering forever. While hovering, the Wanderer constantly consumes
Cuando vuela tiene una
Kuguryoku
barrita
points
a la
to
derecha
maintain his
que
hovering
te dice
state,
cuánto te va a durar el
which is
vuelo.
the blue meter you see on the screen. Even if he doesn't move or attack, hovering
Si no
will
se
still
mueve o no
consume
ataca, sigue bajando.
Kuguryoku points.
Okay.
Vale.
So this mechanic works a little differently than our typical stamina meter. There are many possible
Tiene como una
actions
barra
the Wanderer
adicional
can
de estamina,
perform
pero para
while
su poder.
hovering in the air, which all rely on Kuguryoku points rather than stamina. So, for example, sprinting mid-air will consume additional
Si sprintas,
Kuguryoku
te
points
consume más.
to accelerate mid-air. And holding the sprint button will cause persistent point consumption to
Si lo dejas
maintain
apretado,
speed.
te consume más,
So,
pero vas más
this
rápido,
effect
obviamente.
will replace his default sprint. Jumping expends extra Kuguryoku points to increase hovering
Si
height.
sigues subiendo,
Holding jump
si
will
elevas más,
cause
también te baja más.
persistent Kuguryoku point consumption to keep increasing hovering height. Of course, running out of points will end his hovering state.
Oh, okay. So travelers will need to plan their actions
Mira,
while
le
hovering.
confísela ahí.
Exactly. So, with his talent, Jade Claim Flower, when casting his elemental skill, if it contacts Hydro, Pyro, Cryo, or Electro, that instance of the skill will receive a corresponding buff effect
Si cuando
depending
usa la
on
habilidad
which element
elemental
was
choca contra algún
contacted.
elemento, recibe un
So,
buffo.
for example, increasing his Kuguryoku points cap, attack, crit rate, or
Dependiendo del
restoring a
elemento,
set
tiene un
amount of
buffo
energy
distinto,
upon hitting
básicamente.
opponents with a normal or charged
No
attack.
vamos a entrar en eso,
the
pero
Wanderer can
tiene
have
buffos
up to
diferentes.
2 different kinds of these buffs simultaneously.
Puede tener hasta dos a la vez.
Oh, look, check that out. Part of the halo behind him changes color depending on the buffs you get. So travelers will be able to easily
guay.
understand what effects the Wanderer currently has.
I like that. It's helpful and still looks really
Te
cool.
compensa hacer reacciones
So
con él.
after unlocking
Otra vez.
another talent, Gales of Reverie, when the Wanderer is in the hovering state, if his normal or charged attack hits an enemy, there is a set chance to gain another buff effect, allowing him to sprint midair without consuming Kuguryoku points. Additionally, this buff effect will fire wind arrows to attack the enemy.
Oh,
Tiene
dope. I'm
un
sure
talento que
buff
cuando
effects like
esquiva
that
tira
will go a
una
long way
Wind
for
Blades
players when they're
y tiene
in combat.
posibilidad de que no le
for
cueste
sure.
cuando
And if
ataca,
you've
parece ser.
noticed,
No
there's a
entiendo muy bien.
colorful aura of light around his
Los
body to
sprints no le cuestan
indicate
barra.
when that buff effect
Los
is
sprints no, los
triggered.
evasiones.
That's pretty cool. I love all the detail they've put into the Wanderer.
All right, this brings us to the Wanderer's Elemental Burst.
Oh, guapo.
Yay!
So, check this out. Upon unleashing his
Kyugen.
burst, he compresses the atmosphere
Kyugen.
and stomps it
Se
down
llama
toward the enemy.
Kyugen.
So, travelers should note that if the Wanderer is in a hovering state when he unleashes his burst, then the hovering state will end and he will
Si
begin
tiras el ulti
descending
durante
after
la
the
E,
burst is
se te
complete.
acaba la E.
Okay, this stomping animation is a little aggressive.
Yeah, but it's cool.
I know, and it actually suits his character.
Yeah, I can't help but agree.
Wait. Let's not forget about the exploration talent.
Ah, yes. This is an interesting one. The Wanderer can decrease the
¿Me
mora
está enseñando el
required
arma?
when ascending bows and catalysts.
Hey now, you can never complain about saving Mora, am I right?
Okay,
Huh?
that's true.
Para catalizadores
All
y
right,
arcos. O sea,
now
como,
that we've
como
seen
Raiden,
the
pero para lo
Wanderer,
otro.
let's move on to the next new character. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Yay!
What did you say?
Faruzan.
I'm old now, so every other phrase escapes my ears. Try calling me Madam Faruzan,
Madame.
and I'll see
Madame
if I can keep
Faruzan.
that up.
Mira el pensamiento, qué guay. Mola. Tiene un ojo de cada color también, como Candice.
What is it that you would like
¿Lo
to
habéis
learn more
visto?
about? Different forms of pressure-based
Tiene un ojo de
puzzle
cada color
mechanisms.
también.
The base layer design of elemental monuments. Huh. Wait. Did you forget to call me Madam Faruzan just now when you asked your question? Whoa! What? There's nothing wrong with being afraid of thunder, even at an older age.
Oh, she sounds
gosh.
sassy.
Yeah, and smart too.
She seems
Me
so
gustan las
awesome.
decoraciones que
It's
tiene.
fun.
O sea, aquí en la
I wonder
mano
what her skirt's
y
made
en
I
la-
know, her
y aquí está
design
muy
is
bonita.
so cool and really detailed. I love
Parece
it.
un poco robótica la
So,
tía, pero no
even
está
though she
mal.
looks super young, she's actually an old person? Like, where's my teeth?
Well, she's not that old.
I
Oh,
don't know,
right.
could've fooled me.
Faruzan's age is probably still nothing
Pon
compared
ahí,
to
una
Scarmouche.
investigadora de hace
But let's
100,
call him
100 years ago, hace 100 años. O sea,
Okay,
es más vieja
no
que el hambre,
commitment.
en realidad.
Actually, now that I think about it, yokai
Lo pone
can
ahí.
also live a really long time too.
That's
Tiene
right.
100
yeah, no,
años.
and speaking of age, isn't the traveler's
O más.
age also kind of mysterious?
That's true. It looks like all of our characters are intriguing.
Legal.
But
dice.
it's safe to say that Faruzan is way older than most people in Tibet. Faruzan works in the academia's Haravatat Darshan
Creo que
and
está
has been a
enferma.
hairbod, which
Por eso
roughly means mentor,
no
for over a
envejece.
century.
So I bet everyone out there is wondering if she's also some kind of creature blessed with long life, you know?
Leí
Like
por ahí que
we?
tenía que ver con,
No,
con
she's
la
actually
corrupción
just
del Ymir
your
Sur.
regular, typical human being.
Oh.
Well, maybe not so typical. About 100 years ago, Faruzan was an undisputed genius, traveling all around Sumeru and solving many puzzles and mysteries.
Vale.
The notes she left behind eventually became the basis of mechanical research for later generations.
Vale.
Whoa, she sounds pretty
Básicamente investigó
amazing.
muchísimas cosas de la mecánica
But
y básicamente
later,
es la
she
mecánica actual gracias a
accidentally
ella.
stumbled into some ruins while trying to solve a puzzle. There, she encountered some strange phenomenon which stopped her from aging, and was trapped there for
En-
nearly 100 years.
Quedó
She
atrapada en una
eventually
tumba,
solved
se
the
encontró un
puzzle and was
fenómeno que
able to finally
evitó
return to
que
Sumeru.
envejeciera. Y estuvo un
Can
año
you
encerrada,
imagine
100 años
being
encerrada ahí
trapped in a
dentro.
puzzle for 100 years? Wait. So that's how she's been hairbod for over a century.
Yeah. And even now, she still has the pride of a scholar in her heart and is a very talented person. It's just that after being separated from the world for so long, she's kind of fallen behind the times now.
Oh, hey, I get what you mean. She was once a proud researcher in a niche field that has become
la abuela.
unpopular after 100 years. So, is she still completely dedicated to her field?
Yep. And she often tries using her old age as a means of drumming up support for her ideas. However, I think she'd prefer to be complained about for using her seniority rather than garnering sympathy for her experience of being trapped in the ruins.
Yeah, sounds
No
like
me gusta su
she's
pelo, pero la ropa sí.
character.
I know, right?
Le podrían haber quitado estas dos
so
colas
now
feas.
that we've covered her backstory, why don't we take a look at Faruzan's abilities in combat?
Let's do it.
Fight.
Fight, dice.
100 years have passed, yet there hasn't been any change to those dumb rules at the academia.
Pam, pam,
Dare to
pam.
mess with me? Have fun with this gift.
El ultimate no me gusta. Eso de que se esté moviendo.
I love all the geometric shapes when she's playing. Did
gusta.
you guys see that?
Yes, there's so much geometry. And I took geometry.
It looks so cool.
Ah, yeah.
So Faruzan is an animo character, and she wields a bow as her weapon.
Anemo con
Her
arco.
normal attacks are the usual bow attacks you'd expect from a bow user, so there's not too much to say about that. But her skills are where things get interesting. Her elemental skill deploys a polyhedron that deals damage to enemies. After using her skill, her next aimed shot will become a special attack that creates a
Vale, tiene que
vortex,
hacer un cargado
pulling
después
nearby
de su
objects and opponents in.
Oh, nice.
O sea, su es
So
como
she
la
can
de
clump
Sacarosa
enemies
parecida
together.
y
And
luego
there's
tiene un
also
tiro.
another thing about her special charged attack. It will create a vortex effect at its point of impact.
Y los
And if
atrae.
the attack hits an enemy or ally member, it'll apply
No me
a
gusta
mark
mucho.
and create a vortex after a short delay.
Okay. So it looks like there will be a lot of potential uses for this attack. Travelers will have to experiment with it and see what they come up with.
Yeah, I think
tiró
it'd be
a la nada,
amazing to
¿sabes?
try hitting teammates with the arrow in co-op mode and have them charge into the enemies to group them all together. I'll have to see who wants to try that with me. After unlocking the talent Impetuous Flow, the
Atrae la
time
bomba,
required
obviamente.
for fully charging Faruzan's next shot will be reduced, and the arrow will reduce the target enemy's animo resistance.
Y baja la
In her
resistencia, eso sí es
elemental
importante.
mode, she deploys a dazzling polyhedron and releases a whirlwind pulse.
No me
Throughout
gusta
its
nada.
duration, The dazzling polyhedron will continuously move along a triangular path. Once it reaches each corner of that triangular path, it will unleash one more whirlwind pulse.
Yeah, 1 minute she's
No
here.
me gusta nada el
next
ultimato. No me gusta nada.
she's
Nada, ¿eh?
gone
Nada, nada.
For 100 years. Bada boom.
Me parece súper extraña. Ya cuesta que a veces las ultis te entren como para que no se mueva, ¿sabes?
It was pretty
All
funny.
right. Anyway, let's hear what effects these whirlwind pulses have.
Sure. When the whirlwind pulse hits opponents, it will decrease their animo
Ahí no le
resistance.
pegó.
It will also apply an animo damage buff effect to all nearby party members when it's unleashed.
Buf.
Travelers should note that the effective range of this buff is quite large, and it's not just within the whirlwind pulse itself, so there's no need to go chasing the polyhedron.
Vale,
After
pone bufo.
unlocking her
Parece ser.
talent, Lost Wisdom of the Seven Caverns, when a team member uses normal, charged, or plunging attacks, elemental skills, or elemental bursts to deal animo damage to an enemy, the damage will increase based on Farazan's base attack. This effect
Vale.
can only be triggered once for a certain duration of time.
So
Pone un
it
efecto
seems she'll be a
similar
solid
al
support.
de. Me da la impresión de
Totally.
Yunjin,
And
que
as a
bufa a los
researcher of
anemos.
mechanics and puzzles, Farazan has taken it upon herself to explore many ruins, with her travels taking her all across Sumeru. Her exploration talent reflects this.
Más
And she
recompensa.
gains more rewards when dispatched on a Sumeru
Tiene más
expedition
recompensa.
for 20 hours.
I'm sure no other mentor in her avatar has
Porque es
100
una
years of
arqueóloga
experience in solving
experta.
puzzles.
Yeah, I gotta say, that's pretty hard to beat. So, the big question is, when can travelers expect to get these new characters?
That is a good question. Let's talk about the upcoming event wishes. In the early part of version 3.3, the
Ito.
Wanderer and Arataki Ito will be available via
Ito.
their own
A ver, me
event
lo esperaba porque
wishes.
estaba ahí, pero.
Farazan will also be making her debut in these event
Y viene
wishes.
con
In the
ellos.
later part of version 3.3,
Raiden y
we'll
Ayato.
be seeing rerun event wishes for both the Raiden Shogun and
Buenos banners,
Kamisato
¿eh?
Ayato.
Son muy buenos banners,
And
¿eh?
last but not least, the new 5-star catalyst, Tule Tula's
arma, que es
Remembrance,
un
will be
poco rara.
appearing in a new weapon
Esto
event
es un poco
wish.
raro. ¿eh?
And that's not all. In version
Parece otro plug anal de
3.3,
eso,
2
vale.
brand new artifact series
Todo el
will
rato
become
plugs
available.
anales, tío, en este
So
juego.
travelers should be sure to check out the corresponding domain.
Woo! More artifacts!
All right.
I hope travelers
Sets
will have
nuevo.
fun experimenting and trying new combinations
Un
with
set
these.
de reacciones y un
We've
set
already
para
talked
anemo.
about a ton of new
Vale, de
content,
ataques
so
y
why don't we
daño.
take a quick break with another redemption code?
Sounds
El
good.
set de arriba tiene una
Roll
pinta
out the
impresionante.
code.
Woohoo!
Hey, soy Ito. ¿Por qué? ¿Por qué salen juntos? ¿Van a tener una aventura juntos otra vez? Espero que sí. Espero que sí, porque estos dos son buena gente, se llevan bien. ¿Imagináis que Heiso monte una agencia y coja a Ito como en plan como guardaespaldas? Molaría un montón. Estaría guapísimo. Estaría guapísimo eso, ¿eh? Porque estos dos ya se conocen y se llevan bien. Vamos a bajar un poco el volumen. Porque ya me está taladrando ya. Pam, para, pam, 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 pam. A mí las ilustraciones así, cuando las hacen así, me gustan un montón. Están súper guapas.
Welcome back to the version 3.3
Un evento
special
con ellos.
program.
¡Ah, qué guay!
Okay, Patrick, what do we have next?
So next, we'll be covering the upcoming events
Parasol
for the new
Taku.
version.
That's right. We've already mentioned the Test of Courage event, and I'm sure plenty of you were wondering about that, so let's start there.
Un evento nuevo.
You must be here to participate in the test of courage. I can already see a dark
Oh.
aura surrounding the two of you.
Las pruebas estas que hacen los
Carelessly
asiáticos
go running
de...
into the event. All
de
it'll
coraje,
take
de-
is one little misstep.
Ah.
The darkness will swallow you up. Some strange and unusual things may occur along the way. If you ever feel you can't handle it, you may withdraw from the event at any time. This is your last chance. I'll count it down. 3, 2, 1.
Un evento estilo terrorífico. ¿Por qué este evento no lo pusieron en Halloween, tío? No lo entiendo. ¿Vale? No lo comprendo.
That was pretty interesting.
Sí, yo estaba pensando lo mismo, a mí. Porque este evento no lo pusieron en
Yeah,
Halloween.
I mean, it is a test of courage, so I'm sure there'll be some scary stuff going on there.
Sí, pero ese tabú es ridículo porque realmente lo hacen, o sea,
to
lo hacen
successfully
después
clear
otra
this
vez.
event, we'll be facing a series of
Y
little
todo el mundo lo va a
tests.
relacionar. Obviamente no somos
What's
gilipollas.
this? Tests, you say?
Yes, that's right.
Claro, claro,
Word
claro.
has it that if you walk around the test of courage, you might find yourself encountering a special sort of game. We've already got the rules down, so I'll do a quick introduction. Basically, travelers will have
¡Qué
to control
guapo!
a bouncing bar to bounce a
Estos
ball
juegos me
and
gustan un
use
montón.
skill ball effects to break as many bricks as possible.
Okay, I'm liking this one. Seems pretty straightforward.
During the game, travelers will be able to trigger elemental reactions to break bricks more effectively.
Oh, puedes hacer reacciones elementales y todo, ¿eh?
It even has elemental reactions.
Yeah, we can control the character to move the bar. When the character we're using is either pyro, hydro, cryo, or
Qué guapo.
electro, the corresponding element will be
Ya,
applied
pero
to the
yo la
bar.
cagaré, estoy
By
inútil
switching
apuntando.
characters, you can change the element of the bar.
Okay, all
Doble?
the pieces are falling in place now. The bar can infuse a certain element, and the blocks also have their own elements. So
Oh.
causing a skill ball of one
Con
element
poderes.
to hit blocks of different elements will trigger elemental reactions. There, how'd I do?
Yep, you nailed it. The bar will add the element corresponding to your character.
A ver,
Besides
he de
triggering
admitir que me
reactions
gusta,
the
¿vale?
way you just mentioned, if a skill
Me
ball
mola.
is already infused by an element and it hits the bar, it will also trigger a reaction, causing the skill ball to have some additional effects. When preparing your team, you can equip modifiers to receive various buff effects, which will help you successfully
¿qué pasa?
clear
¿Los
the
personajes
challenge.
cambian el elemento?
Also,
¿O es
when
el...?
there are less than a certain amount of bricks on the board, and the ball lands another hit,
Porque
the
tú puedes cambiar
bar
el
will
personaje.
unleash fireworks.
Whoa, cool.
Yeah. Travelers can utilize this effect to break some bricks that would normally be difficult to hit directly.
It's like a bonus attack.
Oh,
Yeah.
sweet.
¿Qué OP?
So, travelers will need to select characters of the right elements, equip the appropriate modifiers, and use different elemental
Los
reactions
elementos
to break
cambian
bricks
según el
and
personaje que
score
sacas
more
fuera,
points.
básicamente.
And then travelers
No
will
es
be
según
able
el
to
bloque que
use their
choca.
points to exchange for rewards in the event shop, correct?
That's right. Also, travelers will have the option of teaming up and playing the event together in co-op mode.
Oh, se puede hacer en
Oh,
co-op.
looks like a lot of
Se puede
fun.
hacer en cooperativo.
Super fun.
Yeah, in addition to this minigame, the Test of Courage storyline will also contain more challenges. Travelers will
O sea, tiene
even
parte
have
de
a chance
historia
to meet with some
y parte
good
del
friends
evento este.
again, so be sure to check out this
Y con
new
un arma
event.
nueva, que es una
All right,
espada que parece un
let's move
paraguas.
on to our next event.
Okay, so next up, we have a race event called Across the
Race
Wilderness.
event
Your
de carrera.
objective, collecting balloons.
Woo!
I don't
Colectar
know,
globos,
seems like
recolectar
the
globitos.
Wander's abilities might come in real handy here.
En
I
Monster.
know, right?
So, in this event, each stage will have wilderness balloons scattered all around. Travelers will need to find as many wilderness balloons as possible within the time limit to earn increasingly better
Tienes
rewards.
tiempo para recoger una serie de
So,
globos.
during the challenge, travelers will be able to utilize their character's skills and talents.
Puedes utilizar los
So,
talentos y
it'll
habilidades de
be
los personajes.
important to
Aquí
assemble
Escaramuche va a estar
the right
rotísimo.
team, depending on the traits and
Escaramuche que va a
terrain
estar roto,
of
puede
the
volar.
challenge area.
Oh,
interesting.
interesting.
Y Kazuha y
Yeah,
todas
so
esas cosas.
travelers can also use something called the Wilderness Compass to obtain various buffs,
Tiene
which
buffos
include
también.
enhanced jumping
mejoras.
capabilities, increased movement speed,
Que con Escaramuche te
or
lo harás con un botón.
limited stamina, etc.
Ooh, cool.
However, you can only claim one buff during each challenge.
Solo puedes
You
canjear
must
un bufo
consume
por
blessed energy to use the compass
enfrentamiento.
and gain the selected buff. You may charge the compass up by finding wilderness balloons or interacting with blessed energy in the challenge. Or you can always wait for the compass to passively charge over time.
Yo, this event looks pretty crazy. It's almost like watching parkour.
Yeah, there are two different kinds of wilderness balloons in these challenges. The first is harvest balloons, which will increase the overall progress of your search for wilderness balloons. The other kind is sonar balloons,
Hay unos
which will
globos
cause
que
several
hacen que
harvest
aparezcan otros
balloons to
globos.
appear around you for a set amount of time.
That's awesome.
So there will be 5
Este tipo de
stages
cosas
available
parecen
for this
sacar de los
event,
Marios, por
and
ejemplo, ¿sabes?
travelers will need to consider the conditions and terrain of each stage to come up with the best way to
Bueno, no
complete
era solo
it.
Monster, están todas
Also,
partes.
travelers may team up in co-op mode for
Se puede hacer en
challenges.
cooperativo
Ooh,
también.
more chances to play together. I love it.
Se puede hacer también en
same.
cooperativo. esta.
Okay, let's move on to our next event.
Everyone's favorite game of hide and seek is back with the Wind Trace event.
Hide and seek,
of
señores,
course,
escondite.
this is going to be another co-op event, and I, for one, am super excited for
El
it.
escondite de
Nothing
nuevo.
like a good co-op. Many of you might already be familiar with this event by now, but there have been a few changes. Let me introduce what travelers can expect to see this time around.
Va a tener cambio.
We can probably skip some of the basics this time. You know, players either hide or seek.
Tienes que buscar y encontrar.
Okay, wait a second. There
Y luego
actually
tienes que
might be some
esconderte y
new
que no te
travelers
pillen.
out there who've never seen this event before.
a uno de los dos.
Why don't you start with some of the basics?
Right.
Pero
good
van a
point.
cambiar
Okay,
cosas.
let's start at the beginning then. This is a game with a long history in Mondstadt. Travelers will be split into two different sides, the rebels and the hunter. You will need to use skills and master the art of hiding or chasing
Se
down
trata de usar
others
tus
to win
habilidades
this event.
especiales para
The
encontrar.
goal of the hunter is to capture all the rebels, while the rebels run or use other means to keep themselves from getting caught by the hunter.
Okay, that's straightforward enough.
Vale.
So, what else you got for us?
Te acaba de ver, bobo.
Well, some travelers may remember playing as the rebels and getting caught early in the game. Once that would happen, all you could do was spectate
Es
and
imposible
watch
que no te
the
veas,
rest
¿sabes?
as the
En
others
plan de-
continue playing. But
Estás
this time
encantosísimo.
around, once you're caught, you'll still be able to participate in the match.
Una vez te han
even in
capturado,
observer
puedes seguir molestando.
Ooh.
Esto es un arreglo, porque antes te quedas ahí
Once you're
parado
in
y no
observer
haces nada.
mode, you can't be seen by other players and will receive the illusory beacon skill. This skill will allow you to place a random beacon to
Oh, puedes
confuse
crear
the
cosas por
hunter.
ahí.
If your beacon successfully tricks the hunter and is destroyed, then the hunter will suffer an obscured vision.
Y molestas al cazador.
So even after you've been
guay.
captured, you can be like a little ghost trying to help your
Otro evento
teammates by
multijugador.
disrupting the hunter.
Yeah.
That's pretty fun. And at least you won't have to sit there and just watch the rest of the match anymore.
Exactly, but what
Lo
does
que va a
the
decir que por lo
hunter
menos
get
nos tenemos que
this time?
sentar y
I mean,
esperar a
we
que
gotta keep it
acabe
fair.
Some
esto.
new
Podemos
windward
verlo.
arts have been added for both the hunter and the rebels. The hunter will now be able to use the hunter's net. This net can be thrown and will
Puede
remove
tirar una-
any
oh,
rebel
ahora puede
disguises
capturar
within its
distancia.
range, and will notify the hunter that a rebel was detected. If a beacon is caught
No,
in
tiene
the
una
net,
red a
it will be
distancia.
destroyed, and the hunter will not suffer from obscured vision.
Nice.
Ah,
So
dale.
I guess if you
Si
love
por ejemplo
playing
rompes
Hunter, you'll
algún
probably
decoy o
love
cualquier
this.
cosa,
Oh,
no
yeah,
te
you
hace
definitely should.
perder visión
The
con
skill
eso.
rebels used in previous versions of the game to place beacons can now only be used by players in observer mode. However,
Ya no puedes
the
colocar
rebels
beacons
will be able
como-
to use an all-new
como
concealing
rebelde,
beacon
pero la puedes hacer
skill.
cuando mueres y te lo han
This
cambiado.
skill will allow you to deploy a beacon for a set duration and remain invisible while you're around that beacon.
Ah, te ponen
All
una cosa para hacerte
players,
invisible.
including your rebel
En
teammates,
su
will
lugar.
be unable to see you while you're invisible. If the concealing beacon is destroyed by the hunter, then the hunter will have their vision obscured for a short time. Sounds pretty
Vale.
fun, huh?
Yeah.
Está bien.
Yeah, so even if you end up being captured by the hunter at the start of the game, you'll still be able to participate and assist your teammates. And, did I mention Primo Gems and other rewards? Ah, the good stuff. So be sure to check it out.
Oh, that's awesome. Seriously, I can't wait to play with friends. Okay, our next event is a combat-based event.
Time for
Un
some
evento de combate.
combat!
Whoop, whoop.
Van a
In a
poner una
forbidden place warded by dust and sand,
Misty Dungeon otra vez.
mysterious foes have assembled
Este lo
lines
conocemos
of
ya.
fortifications to stop your coming.
Este ya lo conocemos.
That's
ya.
right, a new edition of Misty Dungeon will arrive in version 3.3. Stoked.
Sweet.
But this time around, there will be a total of 7 trials with different themes awaiting you in the Misty Dungeon. Each has a different ley line disorder, and travelers will have to adjust their teams according to the disorder's effects and the distribution of enemies.
Lo mismo.
There will also be trial characters for you to select from as well. After
colocas
entering the
personajes y haces la
domain,
Misty
travelers
Dungeon.
will need to go and complete 3 challenges to
3
collect
runas.
ancient runes. After collecting power from 3 ancient runes, we can
Guides,
power up the
gracias por la
control
sub,
array
guapo.
and proceed to the final
Muchas
challenge.
gracias, mi niño.
Also, throughout
Te
the
queremos.
trial, additional benediction mechanisms and challenges will appear.
Lo mismo de siempre.
Travelers may choose to
No
interact
tiene nada
with these
especial.
to
Misty
increase
Dungeon.
the ley line
Combates,
disorder's effects
desbloqueas
or
ciertas
revive
cosas,
and heal
haces
your
una prueba
team.
final, se acabó el capítulo. Ya
If it were
está.
up to me, I'd say just go for all the
No hay más.
challenges.
I know, but travelers should keep in mind that the challenge objective for each trial
Tendrá algunos
might
cambios,
be
algunas
different.
mejoras, algunas
So
cosas
be
diferentes,
sure
pero
to
va a ser
check
la-
the objective and
el
aim
mismo
for that
perro,
while
diferente
proceeding.
collar, ¿vale?
In terms
Toma.
of rewards, travelers can look forward to winning Primo Gems and other various prizes.
Y por lo menos dan cosas de Sumeru,
I like prizes.
materiales de Sumeru.
And last but not least, version 3.3 will also
Ley
have
line.
leyline overflow events.
Último evento,
Travelers
Leyline.
can look
Oye,
forward
de puta
to
madre.
saving their
¿vale?
resin and earning more Mora and experience books.
Más mora y
That's
experiencia.
awesome. That'll be great for all the travelers out there still leveling up all their new characters.
Ahí vamos a
And
farmear
if you
como
don't
locos.
need those resources now, it's always good to stock up and have more on hand. Am I
O sea, el
right?
por dos de toda la
Yeah.
vida, básicamente.
So, travelers looking to upgrade their characters won't want to miss this.
Yeah, I mean, this is all good
Este tipo de
stuff.
eventos
In
están muy
addition
bien.
to the new version's
Y la
limited
carta.
time events, Version 3.3 will also be adding a new permanent game mode called Genius Invocation TCG.
Genius Invocation TCG.
But before we get into that, let's take another quick break and enjoy our
Van a poner otro
redemption
código
code.
y vamos por el juego.
Yay!
Slap that code on the screen.
Contra Fischl, ¿sabes? Pa, 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 pam. Pa, pam, pam. ¿En serio? ¿No te gustan las cartas, tío? ¿Qué hace el pájaro ahí? Hace trampa, seguro que está mirando al viajero y le está diciendo a Fischer qué es lo que tiene. Reroll. A ver, habrá que ver cómo es el juego. Si está guapo. Puede mirar la mano del oponente. ¿Tenía algo Fischer para ver a través de las cosas? No me acuerdo, ¿vale?
Welcome back, everyone. During our journey into VAT, we've stumbled across several NPCs talking about a game called Genius Invocation TCG. So next, we'll introduce this card game that's been taking to VAT by storm. In the version 3.1 special program, we already revealed that Genius Invocation TCG will be a card game where we can challenge various characters and NPCs or battle against your friends. But there is actually a legend behind this game.
Oh.
It is said that a young guy in Sumeru found an ancient casket of tomes in the attic. He opened it and discovered that the soul of an ancient TCG player called the Crocodile King had been captured inside.
What a
Parece la historia de Yu-Gi-Oh!
It turns out that the Crocodile King was King Deshret's viceroy, who battled an opponent named the Ibis King.
Primero Pokémon era Yugi.
The Crocodile King fell prey to his opponent's scheme and was sealed away in the casket of tomes.
Ouch, game over.
After being unexpectedly released by the kid, the Crocodile King possesses him and helps him to gradually climb the ranks to becoming a legendary TCG player.
Ve, el rey cocodrilo lo posee y lo vuelve un mejor jugador. Pero que esto es Yugi, tío.
You're right. It turns out that Yai Publishing House is about to release a hit light novel series based on Genius Invocation TCG.
Okay, now this is starting to sound like a plot for Yai Publishing House.
Me ha parecido leerlo.
But anyway, that's the legend on how Genius Invocation TCG came to be. Though it's probably just a story they came up with for marketing the game.
So while you were telling us about the story, I was over here researching the rules to the game. Basically, Genius Invocation TCG is a game where you use a constructed deck of cards to duel against an opponent. The objective is to defeat all of your opponent's character cards.
That's right.
Also, there are many features and mechanics in the game that resonate with Genshin Impact's gameplay, so it shouldn't be too hard for players to get the hang of.
Right, I even saw some elemental reactions in the gameplay.
Yup, a constructed deck must contain character cards. And as you might expect, these character cards have a normal attack, an elemental skill, and an elemental burst. So when a character card deals elemental damage to an enemy, it will cause them to be affected by that element. Then, you can switch to a character card of a different element and use their abilities to trigger an elemental reaction.
No tiene nada la pinta.
Wait, did you guys notice that there are even monster character cards? Can we even make a deck of, like, just the monsters from the game?
Puedes jugar
You're
monstruo.
really getting into this, Max.
Heck yeah, I am! I like card games!
Who doesn't?
So, in Genius Invocation TCG, all actions require you to spend elemental dice. Each round, both you and your opponent will roll 8 elemental dice. Each of these elemental dice can have any one of 8 elemental attributes.
Hold on, but
No está mal.
there's only 7 elements in the world of Teyvat.
You're right. So, in addition to the 7 standard elements, there's also one called the Omni element. The elemental dice required for a character card to perform an action correspond to the character's element. So, for example, a Pyro character like D-Luke needs either Pyro or Omni elemental dice to perform an action. Clear now?
Ah, para poder hacer acciones con los personajes tienes que gastar poder elemental.
Elemental dice can be used to switch characters, or play a variety of other cards, such as equipment cards, event cards, and support cards. All these cards create the potential for a variety of strategies.
Right. While playing Genius Invocation TCG, travelers can earn player experience, which will increase your player level. As your level increases, you'll be able to challenge more characters and NPCs. By completing challenges, you may earn lucky
Tiene buena
coins,
pinta.
new cards, or other rewards.
¿Vale?
Lucky coins can be exchanged in the
Y
event
las
shop
cartas
for
las
cards,
compras por...
or
Qué guapo.
can even unlock dynamic skins for certain cards.
Dynamic
compras cartas.
skins? Those are cards that have moving illustrations, right?
That's right.
Y tienes ilustraciones
All
mejores que
character
se
cards
mueven.
can unlock a dynamic skin.
Qué guay.
After unlocking that, there'll even be a cool bonus animation whenever you cast that character's
Qué
elemental
guapo.
burst.
Cool.
And if you're confident in your TCG skills, you can also invite a friend to duel. After reaching a high enough player level, you'll even unlock a matchmaking mode. So be sure to give it a try.
Travelers
Hay
should
matchmaking.
note that playing against your friends or other travelers won't count towards any leaderboards or provide any rewards.
No, da
So
no hay
you can
leaderboards
relax.
ni
It's all just for
recompensa.
fun.
Es solamente por diversión. Eso es una
Okay,
pena.
that's everything we have for Genius Invocation
A lo mejor en un futuro lo
TCG,
ponen,
and that
¿vale?
brings us to the end
Porque
of
a lo mejor
today's
esperan a
special
que la gente se saque
program.
las cartas, ¿vale?
So, what did you think?
Pero tiene un
Why
pintote.
does it have to be over? There's so much that this version has to offer.
Yeah, I can't even take it all in right now. I'm just
Al final, el orden y todos los juegos
super
de cartas son
stoked to
iguales.
be part of this. I think I just gained some Kuguryoku points just doing this whole thing, so.
Man, the new characters look cool.
I know, what about Scaramouche hovering? Like, that's
I
insane.
know, that's awesome.
That's super dope.
Imagino que colocarán
That's
más
awesome.
personajes
And
con
I
parche y cosas.
cannot wait to play in some of these events and mini games. I'm super excited. This was
No tiene
so
ranking ni
fun.
recompensas,
I'm
PvP.
really glad that we got
Pero
to do
pueden
this special
colocarlo en un
program
futuro
together.
más.
I'm so happy I
Sí, la
got to
gente-
come back for another special
No lo veo
program.
mal.
This is my third time being on one of these.
No, no,
and
es
I
permanente,
can't
permanente,
believe
JJ.
it before.
Este evento es permanente.
I'm so happy. This is my first one. So
Este es
thank you
permanente.
for having me.
Doesn't it feel good?
Yes,
Doesn't
I
it feel
feel
good to
honored
feel
to be here.
special?
Seriously, I'm
Do
just
you
like-
feel special?
Vale, se han sacado.
I
creo yo.
really do. Thank you.
Well, I think this is the end of our special program. So
This is
I
the
hope
end of
everyone
our
enjoyed
special
it,
program.
and
Comemos un
we'll
huevo.
See you in game. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Okay, bye, everybody.
No, no, no hay
Bye,
desierto, no hay nada.
everyone.
See you later!
Se acabó.